Well, hello and welcome to I Love Gay today. And staying true to our world of LGBTQ business, we are here with Christopher Bylam from Charlotte, North Carolina. How are you?
I'm excellent. How yourself?
Doing well. No, as you and I were chatting, we've been connected on LinkedIn for a long time, and I don't even know what the initial impetus was, but I'm really glad that we've stayed in touch, especially as I got to know you more before this interview. And you've got a lot of really good things going on.
Well, I appreciate that. The universe aligned, and so now we're able to do this conversation, and hopefully it's viewed by millions of people.
Exactly. But no, you've got a company now, Innovation Unbiased. And
Yes.
but that really stems from your history. You were, and I don't want to just say you were the head of DEI of Krispy Kreme. That makes it too easy. You really have had an interesting title that I think has really allowed you to bring a lot of your past work into where you're at today with your focus on belonging as a part of DEI.
Yeah, so I was the head of belonging at Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
Before that, I was the head of DEI at a company called International Flavors and Fragrances. And so for me, it was great when I was coming into Krispy Kreme is because I was able to create the title
Yeah.
and say, we really had the conversation of what are we trying to solve for? And we said we were solving for belonging. And I said, okay, well, then let's make that my job title. Right? If that's what we're truly trying to solve for, let's call it that's the department name. That's what I'm here for. So when people hear me and they understand, what so they can understand what I'm trying to do, right? So we said the outcome is belonging, and I believed that well before I got to Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
And so that's why I came up with the belonging formula, right? Taking this very qualitative kumbaya thing of belonging, and how do we actually try to apply some quantitative theory to it? And
Yeah.
so that's where the belonging formula came out of that, belonging equals equity plus diversity times inclusion to the power of accessibility.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's how I look at this work and how I want to do this work as a fractional chief diversity officer for organizations through Innovation Unbiased.
I love that. Have you ever taken your formula, which I love, by the way, because it resonated with me when I saw I'm an engineer once upon a time by by training. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, that formula speaks to me. And I ran it through AI just to see, I don't know why. I wanted to see what does AI have to say about it. And it's really fascinating. I don't know. Have you ever done that?
I don't know that I've done that. So I would be interested to see what your AI had to say about that.
Yes, it was Google's AI, Gemini, and but I'm sure
Okay.
ChatGPT would be very similar. It was really cool, and what it does, I think it just reinforces a lot of what you've been working on over the years. But it gave a few little key takeaways. One of them, I'll even read it. One of the takeaways: it is a conceptual tool. This isn't a rigid math equation, but a way to visualize that overcoming barriers, in parentheses, accessibility, is essential to achieve the goal of belonging. Don't you love that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it truly is because what I would joke to some people is like, hey, like mathematicians out there, like don't hold me true to this formula from a mathematical point of view, right?
Yep.
Because what I say is that if one of the areas is not operating at its fullest or it's not operating in a negative, then the formula fails, right? And so, however, I did try as I was writing it representationally to make it mathematically correct, right? So if you're thinking about the orders of operations, right, that's why equity and diversity are in the innermost parentheses.
Yep.
Because it starts there, right? We start with equity, and then because you need to have equitable policies and practices to be able to recruit and
Yeah.
potentially retain a diverse workforce. You then have to add in inclusive leadership to be able to not just retain, but have that diverse population thrive.
Yeah.
And I would also say, and the reason why I say to the power of accessibility is because that's the thing that amplifies, right? How do we make sure people can access our organization beyond disability access, right? When people see accessibility, they really do think it's only about people with disabilities. And yes, I would say 75 to 90% of what accessibility works on is the people with disability space,
Yeah.
but it's beyond that. There's a lot of other things that go into how is your organization accessible to every individual out there.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's interesting too because a big part of it goes towards. I think they've been saying this for years. Is that one of the big core values of DEI is employees being able to bring their authentic self to work. And
Yes.
I think your background probably speaks to that more than anything else on on this video, because you're a father you're
Yes.
and just so much more than that. Beyond, it goes way beyond just the work you're doing. And but I think that really probably resonates, I'm guessing, with a lot of the folks that you talk to.
Yeah, I mean, look, there is no secret. I am a gay man.
Mhm.
I happen to be a dad to two awesome young men. One is a first year student at the Darla School of Business at University of South Carolina, and the other one is an eighth grader in just outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania. And so to me, these are my ride or dies, right? Like, and but I am a cancer survivor. Somebody who is also a divorced individual, right? So the
Yeah.
complexity of what that is. So bringing a lot of diversity to this, the way I grew up on a farm. I have my bachelor's degree in agriculture science. Who, not stereotypical gay. Um, but so yeah, there's a lot more diversity than just, what I look like presenting as a white male,
Yeah.
to others.
I do love how you keep yourself out there, though, and that's some of the things that I've seen on social media or at least through this last year. But I love the fact that you post these things, especially on LinkedIn, the morning inclusive, and it's great because I tell people that the same way. You've really positioned yourself also as kind of a thought leader, and you're not necessarily selling at any given point in time. You're just really putting some really key points out there that seem pretty consistent.
Yeah, so the morning inclusive was I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
It was a way of how I wanted to, you know, highlight something that's going on in a particular day that somebody could use this as a way to be a more inclusive person. Like they didn't know that it was, some individual's birthday or it was a name your celebration day and people didn't know about it. And
Yeah.
so trying to just like pull back the curtain a little bit and give somebody a little nugget of information that they could use on their daily practice on how to be more inclusive of
Yeah.
individuals around them.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, that's going to bring me some clients, right? Those who are listening, hey, I am always willing to talk to you about how you want to hire my thought leadership to
Yeah.
come to your organization to do work for you, right? It's like, but I post these morning inclusives. That's why I have the podcast that I have that's called I Know I Belong When, is because I want to offer to the world how to create a culture of belonging that works for everyone.
Yeah.
And I don't want it always to be behind a paid wall, right? I one day I hope I we don't need chief diversity officers,
Yeah.
right? Now there's enough work for me to do that I can put my kids through college, and be able to have a nice retirement. However, this should not be a money-making differentiator thing for organizations. We should just be good humans and not have to be concerned about how people are biased, right? It should just be your organization should be representative of the markets in which you serve. Right now, people aren't doing that. So
Yeah.
I have job security in from that aspect.
Plus, when you put out quotes in these morning inclusives, such as appreciation is not about you, it is about the person we are recognizing. But I thought it wasn't just that quote; it is that it's in line with everything you just said. You fleshed that out, and I read that, and it was I thought it really kind of puts you in a really good spot where I think people can fully understand much more about how you can help them as a business as well.
Yeah, and how that kind of came about, right? So, I was thinking about how I wanted to recognize my guests on the podcast and show my appreciation for them.
Yeah,
And first, I thought like, oh, I'm going to give them like a branded coffee mug.
yeah,
Um, and I was advised very correctly, don't do it,
yeah,
right? Like that's not what somebody is going to find value with. That was more about a gift about me than a gift about them. And so actually what I'm doing for my guests on the show is I am donating money in their name to a nonprofit
okay,
as a way to kind of pay it forward. And so the money that I would have spent on some type of physical gift I am now taking that and donating that in to a nonprofit in their honor, so that it's a pay it forward type of thing. So
Well, it seems like you're doing a lot of the right things, and especially in today's world where, it's just there's no doubt that DEI is under a lot of strain in both in society and in a lot of the companies that we all want to work with. But it's at the end of the day, especially when it comes to the HR side of it, not so much the marketing and the outside part, but the internal. I don't see that that's going away because, especially when you want to retain really strong, good talent, it's very competitive out there.
it is very competitive. And, for people to think that DEI is going away, it's not.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing I want people to walk away from this conversation is knowing that the work we do, just DEI in general, has always been, is now, and will always be legal.
Yeah.
Right? It has always been, is now, and will always be legal. There may be certain aspects of how we implemented DEI programs that may be bumped up against that legality guideline, right? And sometimes it may have crossed the line,
Mm,
and we have to pull that back, right?
mm,
Now, I will never say that the certain person in the current White House has a good person. However, what I will say is I am a better practitioner because of the challenge he has put in front of me.
no, no.
Because it is making me do my job better because I have to do it in, they always say to you, there's that adage out there of that the test of a leader is not when things are good, but in the time of crisis.
Yeah.
And so we are in a time of crisis.
Hmm.
And so for me, it's making me be a better practitioner, do this work more intentionally, and ask the hard questions. Been like, is this tactic that we were doing the right tactic?
Yeah.
Not that I agree anything with those executive orders that have been put out. I do not. However, I am going to take this as an opportunity to be a better practitioner
Yeah. Yeah.
and not just rest on the, well, we've always done it and nobody was pushing back on us, so let's just keep doing this. Well, now we have some pushback. Well, guess what? Well, examine your work and figure out how you're going to create diverse, equitable, inclusive, and accessible organizations, even under attack from an administration who it wants to take the rights away from LGBT people, from women, from minorities, immigrants, people with disabilities, you name it. If they are not a white, cisgender male, heterosexual male as well, basically, they don't want policies to help anybody else but white, heterosexual men
Yeah.
who are able bodied.
Well, what didn't kill you made you stronger. So
Exactly.
I love seeing that passion. And when we post this, especially on YouTube and so forth, I'm going to make sure we link to I saw a couple articles and interviews with you and stuff. And we'll make sure all that is linked as well so that folks can find you on your some of the various touch points on social media as well, these articles, and just get to know you better and hopefully connect.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always up for a conversation.
Yeah.
Look, like I always have a coffee mug, and so I am good with doing virtual coffees or your adult beverage of choice, depending on the time of the day it is.
Yep.
Happy to have those conversations. Those who are in Charlotte area, happy to meet with you in person. I will definitely be letting people know when I'm in a certain city. So if you're in New York, anytime in the near future, I'm going to be coming up there soon, and so would love to meet people in person. I really want to not just have my connections on LinkedIn just be another number of how many people are in my network, right? I want genuine intentional connections.
Yeah.
And so reach out to me, have a conversation. If you go to innovationonbias.com, you can hit the contact me button and you can schedule a meeting with me. I'm happy to talk to anybody to figure out how we can provide some synergies and just meet another decent human, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes we just need those conversations and start the day off or end the day with a great conversation.
Like this one.
Yes, like this one. That just happens to be recorded. That just happens to be
Exactly.
recorded, and millions of people are going to watch it.
I love that. Well, it's wonderful to connect with you here, and I do look forward to meeting you in the real world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Feels good. so good.